Hashem said to Abram, "Go for yourself from your land, from your relatives, and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who curses you I will curse. And all the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you." So Abram went as Hashem had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai and Lot, his brother's son, and all their wealth that they had amassed, and the souls they had made in Haran. And they left to go to the land of Canaan, and they came to the land of Canaan. Abram passed into the land as far as the site of Shechem until the plain of Moreh. The Canaanite was then in the land. Hashem appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to Hashem, who appeared to him. From there he relocated to the mountain east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east, and he built there an altar to Hashem and invoked Hashem by name. Then Abram journeyed on, journeying steadily toward the south. There was a famine in the land, and Abram descended to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe in the land. And it occurred as he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "See now, I have known that you are a woman of beautiful appearance, and it shall occur when the Egyptians will see you, they will say, 'This is his wife?' Then they will kill me, but you they will let live. Please say that you are my sister, that I may go well with me for your sake, and that I may live on account of you." But it occurred, with Abram's coming to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. When the officials of Pharaoh saw her, they lauded her for Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. And he treated Abram well for her sake, and he acquired sheep, cattle, donkeys, slaves, and maidservants, female donkeys, and camels. But Hashem afflicted Pharaoh along with his household with severe plagues because of the matter of Sarai, the wife of Abram. Pharaoh summoned Abram and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she is your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I would take her as my wife? Now here is your wife, take her and go." So Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him, and they escorted him and his wife and all that was his. So Abram went up from Egypt, he with his wife and all that was his, and Lot with him, to the south. Now Abram was very laden with livestock, silver, and gold. He proceeded on his journeys from the south to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at first, between Bethel and Ai, to the site of the altar which he had erected there at first, and there Abram invoked Hashem by name. Also Lot, who went with Abram, had flocks, cattle, and tents, and the land could not support them dwelling together, for their possessions were abundant, and they were unable to dwell together. And there was quarreling between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite were then dwelling in the land. So Abram said to Lot, "Please, let there be no strife between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are kinsmen. Is not all the land before you? Please separate from me. If you go left, then I will go right, and if you go right, then I will go left." So Lot raised his eyes and saw the entire plain of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before Hashem destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of Hashem, like the land of Egypt going toward Zoar. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan, and Lot journeyed from the east, thus they parted one from his brother. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, while Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain and pitched tents as far as Sodom. Now the people of Sodom were wicked and sinful toward Hashem exceedingly. Hashem said to Abram, after Lot had parted from him, "Raise now your eyes and look out from where you are, northward, southward, eastward, and westward. For all the land that you see, to you will I give it, and to your descendants forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, then your offspring too can be counted. Arise, walk about the land with its length and breadth, for to you will I give it." And Abram moved his tent and came and dwelled in the plains of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and he built there an altar to Hashem. And it happened in the days of Amphral, king of Shinar, Arnoch, king of Elasar, Hadalomar, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goim, that these made war on Berah, king of Sodom, Bereshah, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemibel, king of Zebolim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All these had joined at the valley of Siddim, now the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and they rebelled 13 years. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and struck the Rephaim at Ashtorah Kamim, the Zuzim in Ham, the Amim in Shaveh Kirathaim, and the Hortes in their mountains as Seir, as far as the plain of Paran, which is by the desert. Then they turned back and came to En Mishpah, which is Kadesh. They struck all the territory of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who dwell in Hazon Tamar. And the king of Sodom went forth with the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zebolim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar, and engaged them in battle in the valley of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasah, 4 kings against 5. The valley of Siddim was full of bitumen wells. The kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell into them, while the rest fled to a mountain. They seized all the wealth of Sodom and Gomorrah, all their food, and they departed. And they captured Lot and his possessions, Abram's nephew, and they left, for he was residing in Sodom. Then there came a fugitive and told Abram, the Livri, who dwelt in the plains of Mamre, the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol and the brother of Anir, these being Abram's allies. And when Abram heard that his kinsman was taken captive, he armed his disciples who had been born in his house, 318, and he pursued them as far as Dan. And he with his servants deployed against them at night and struck them. He pursued them as far as Hobah, which is to the north of Damascus. He brought back all the possessions. He also brought back his kinsman Lot with his possessions, as well as the women and the people. The king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, to the valley of Shaven, which is the king's valley. But Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God, the Most High. He blessed him, saying, "Blessed is Abram of God, the Most High, maker of heaven and earth, and blessed is God, the Most High, who has delivered your foes into your hand," and he gave him 1/10 of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the people and take the possessions for yourself." Abram said to the king of Sodom, "I lift up my hand to Hashem, God, the Most High, maker of heaven and earth. If so much as a thread to a shoe strap, or if I shall take from anything of yours, so shall you not say, 'It is I who made Abram rich.' Far from me, only what the young men have eaten, and the share of the men who accompanied me, Anir, Eshcol, and Mamre, they will take their portion." After these events, the word of Hashem came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Fear not, Abram. I am a shield for you. Your reward is very great. And Abram said, My Lord, Hashem Elohim, what can you give me, seeing that I go childless, and the steward of my house is the Damascene Eliezer? Then Abram said, See to me, you have given no offspring, and see my steward inherits me. Suddenly the word of Hashem came to him, saying, That one will not inherit you, only him that shall come forth from within you shall inherit you. And he took him outside and said, Gaze now toward the heavens, and count the stars, if you are able to count them. And he said to him, So shall your offspring be. And he trusted in Hashem, and he reckoned in to him as righteousness. He said to him, I am Hashem who brought you out of Ur Kasdim to give you this land, to inherit it. He said, My Lord Hashem Elohim, whereby shall I know that I am to inherit it? And he said to him, Take to me 3 heifers, 3 goats, 3 rams, a turtle dove, and a young dove. He took all of these to him. He cut them in the center and placed each piece opposite its counterpart. The birds, however, he did not cut up. Birds of prey descended upon the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And it happened, as the sun was about to set, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and behold, a dread, great darkness fell upon him. And he said to Abram, Know with certainty that your offspring shall be aliens in a land not their own, and they will serve them, and they will oppress them 400 years. But also the nation that they will serve I shall judge, and afterwards they will leave with great wealth. As for you, you shall come to your ancestors in peace. You shall be buried in a good old age, and the 4th generation shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorite shall not yet be full until then. So it happened, the sun set, and it was very dark. Behold, there was a smoky furnace and a torch of fire which passed between these pieces. On that day Hashem made a covenant with Abram, saying, To your descendants have I given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates River, the Canaanite, the Kenzanite, and the Cadamonite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, and the Rephaim, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Girgashite, and the Jebusite. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. She had an Egyptian maidservant, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, See now, Hashem has restrained me from bearing. Consort now with my maidservants. Perhaps I will be built up through her. And Abram heeded the voice of Sarai. So Sarai, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian, her maidservant, after 10 years of Abram's dwelling in the land of Canaan, and gave her to Abram, her husband, to him as a wife. He consorted with Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was lowered in her esteem. So Sarai said to Abram, The outrage against me is due to you. It was I who gave my maidservants into your bosom, and when she saw that she had conceived, I became lowered in her esteem. Let Hashem judge between me and you. Abraham said to Sarai, Behold, your maidservant is in your hand. Do to her as you see fit. And Sarai dealt harshly with her, so she fled from her. An angel of Hashem found her by the spring of water in the desert, at the spring on the road to Shur. And he said, Hagar, maidservant of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going? And she said, I am running away from Sarai, my mistress. And an angel of Hashem said to her, Return to your mistress, and submit yourself to her domination. And an angel of Hashem said to her, I will greatly increase your offspring, and they will not be counted because of abundance. And an angel of Hashem said to her, Behold, you will conceive and give birth to a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, for Hashem has heard your prayer, and he shall be a wild ass of a man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and over all his brothers he shall dwell. And she called the name of Hashem who spoke to her. You are the God of vision. For she said, could I have seen even here after having seen? Therefore the well was called the well of the living one appearing to me. It is between Kadesh and Bered. Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son that Hagar bore him Ishmael. And Abraham was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. When Abram was 99 years old, Hashem appeared to Abram and said to him, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be perfect. I will set my covenant between me and you, and I will increase you most exceedingly. Abram threw himself upon his face, and God spoke with him, saying, As for me, this is my covenant with you. You shall be a father of a multitude of nations. Your name shall no longer be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham. For I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and make nations of you, and kings shall descend from you. I will ratify my covenant between me and you, and between your offspring after you, throughout their generations, as an everlasting covenant, to be a God to you and your offspring after you. And I will give to you and to your offspring after you the land of your sojourns, the whole of the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I shall be a God to them. God said to Abraham, And as for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and your offspring after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and that shall be the sign of the covenant between me and you. At the age of 8 days, every male among you shall be circumcised throughout your generations. He that is born in the household or purchased with money from any stranger who is not of your offspring. He that is born in your household or purchased with your money shall surely be circumcised. Thus my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. An uncircumcised male, the flesh of whose foreskin shall not be circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from its people. He has invalidated my covenant. And God said to Abraham, As for Sarai, your wife, do not call her Sarai, for Sarah is her name. I will bless her. Indeed, I will give you a son through her. I will bless her, and she will give rise to nations. Kings of people will rise from her. And Abraham threw himself upon his face and laughed. And he thought, Shall a child be born to 100-year-old man? And so Sarah, a 90-year-old woman, give birth? And Abraham said to God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you. God said, Nonetheless, your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you shall call his name Isaac. And I will fulfill my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his offspring after him. But regarding Ishmael, I have heard you. I have blessed him, will make him fruitful, and will increase him most exceedingly. He will beget 12 princes, and I will make him into a great nation. But I will maintain my covenant through Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you by this time next year. And when he had finished speaking with him, God ascended from upon Abraham. Then Abraham took his son Ishmael, and all those servants born in his household, and all those he had purchased for money, all the male members of Abraham's house, and he circumcised the flesh of their surplusage on the very day as God had spoken with him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised on the flesh of his surplusage, and his son Ishmael was 13 years old when he was circumcised on the flesh of his surplusage. On that very day was Abraham circumcised with Ishmael his son, and all the people of his household, born in his household, and purchased for money from a stranger, were circumcised with him.